Welcome to Scriptural Science, a presentation of Truth and Life Institute, Boston, Massachusetts, and Oba, Nigeria, written and published by Ifeanyi Chukwujima, scriptural scientist and a servant of God. This subsection's ID is Make the Peace of Christ Your Marriage 1010. A three-dimensional space has only one realm, yet we know that life and death exist in different realms, which is why nobody has seen death. Therefore, minus x, minus y, minus z are separate dimensions of space, minus x for natural death, minus y for spiritual death, and minus z for eternal death. Here is a popular saying among the Igbos of Nigeria: if death can be seen, no one will die. Every human being does whatever they can to continue to live, because we all see life and love life. If we can see death the same way we see life, we will invent as many ammunitions as we can to fight death and try to overcome death, the same way we promote life and work hard to prolong life. If the universe is three-dimensional and so, one realm, death and darkness, will not have any hiding place from the moment God dawned his light on the world in Genesis 1 verses 3 to 4 NIV, and God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. For God saw that the light was good. God did not stop with dawning the light on the world, which is the earth and the universe. Genesis 1 verse 3. God allowed darkness to continue to exist on the earth to give death a hiding place, as well as for the imprisonment of Satan and the fallen angels. Jude 1 verse 6, 2 Peter 2 verse 4, for the duration of their trial for wickedness, which will end on the last day. After dawning light on the dark waters of creation, Genesis 1:2, in the hollow of his hand, Isaiah 40 verse 12, God separated the light from the darkness, Genesis 1 verse 4 NIV. Figure 1. The only three-dimensional space in existence is the space of heaven, in which there is only light and no darkness at all. This is the message we have heard from him and declare to you. God is light. In him there is no darkness at all. 1 John 1 verse 5 NIV. In Proverbs 8 below, wisdom tells us that before God scooped up the water of creation, which constitutes the watery depth in his hand to create the earth and the universe, that wisdom was there and was watching with great delight and jubilation. Proverbs 8 verse 24. 22 The Lord brought me forth as the first of his works, before his deeds of old. 23 I was formed long ages ago, at the very beginning, when the world came to be. 24 When there were no watery depths, I was given birth. This is pre-Genesis 1 event. When there were no springs overflowing with water. 25 Before the mountains were settled in place, before the hills, I was given birth. 26 Before he made the world or its fields or any of the dust of the earth. These are Genesis 1 verses 9 to 13 events. 27 I was there when he set the heavens in place, when he marked out the horizon on the face of the deep. 28 When he established the clouds above and fixed securely the fountains of the deep. 29 When he gave the sea its boundary, so the waters would not overstep his command, and when he marked out the foundations of the earth. These are Genesis 1 verses 6 to 8 events. Figure 2. Sealing off the space of the earth and the universe, which God had created entirely inside the water in the hollow of God's mighty hand in Genesis 1 verses 6 to 8, is what Proverbs 8 verse 27 is talking about, and is a separate event from God's separation of light and darkness in Genesis 1 to 4, in which God partitioned the space of the earth and the universe into 8 realms with 3 dimensions of light and 3 dimensions of darkness. Listen to Job 26 tell the same creation events pertaining to God marking off the space of the earth and the universe. From the space of heaven right in front of God to separate the space of heaven from the space of the earth and the universe, because God never fellowships, 1 John 1 verse 5, with death and darkness. He shuts off the view of his throne by spreading his cloud across it. Job 26 verse 9 Complete Jewish Bible. This is Genesis 1 verse 2 event. 10 He fixed a circle on the surface of the water, defining the boundary between light and dark. 11 The pillars of heaven tremble. aghast at his rebuke. Job 26 verses 9 to 11 complete Jewish Bible. These are Genesis 1 verses 6 to 8 events. In the world God had created in the 6 days of creation in Genesis 1, there was no indebtedness of any kind. It was either that something exists or it never existed, making minus x as a continuation of x, minus y as a continuation of y, and minus z as a continuation of z, a delusion. 2 Thessalonians 2 verses 10 to 12. When nothing is left of anything God had created in the world, that thing is still represented on the x, y, z graph as 0, meaning that it has been completely depleted. God did not create indebtedness, which is why God commanded his people to strive to remain lenders and not borrowers, lest they become slaves to the people they are indebted to. Deuteronomy 28 verses 1 to 58, Proverbs 22 verse 7. The world's smart people got everybody mixing God's values with the devil's values, as if God originated both and intended both to be part of the human life. Nothing of God ever goes to zero, which is non-existence or death. When anything God had created hits zero, it dies and becomes extinct. And death is not light, but darkness, which has no part in God at all. 1 John 1 verse 5. Figure 3. God's separation of light from darkness in Genesis 1 verse 4 turned the space of the earth and the universe into 6 dimensions and 8 realms, 4 light realms and 4 darkness realms. The smart people of the world quickly convinced the world that this separation of light and darkness, which is day and night, was nothing to attribute to God's great powers, but was simply achieved on the earth by the shadow of the earth that was cast by the sun in the opposite direction, due to the great distance between the sun and the earth, 93 million miles. The smart people of the world did not realize that God was talking about infinitely advanced science in Genesis 1 verse 4, through which God partitioned the microstructures of heaven that now made up the space of the earth and the universe into 6 dimensions and 8 realms to keep the living from mixing with the dead. She gave birth to a son, a male child, who will rule all the nations with an iron scepter. And her child was snatched up to God and to his throne. 6. The woman fled into the wilderness to a place prepared for her by God, where she might be taken care of for 1,260 days. 7. Then war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back. 8. But he was not strong enough, and they lost their place in heaven. 9. The great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil, or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. He was hurled to the earth, and his angels with him. 13. When the dragon saw that he had been hurled to the earth, he pursued the woman who had given birth to the male child. 14. The woman was given the 2 wings of a great eagle, so that she might fly to the place prepared for her in the wilderness, where she would be taken care of for a times, and half a time out of the serpent's reach. 15. Then from his mouth the serpent spewed water like a river, to overtake the woman and sweep her away with the torrent. 16. But the earth helped the woman by opening its mouth and swallowing the river that the dragon had spewed out of his mouth. Revelation 12:5-9, 13-16 NIV. It was God's separation of light in Genesis 1 verse 4 from the darkness that was covering over the water of creation in Genesis 1 verse 2 that resulted in the 6-dimensional space of the earth and the universe and its 8 realms, 4 light realms and 4 darkness realms, which trapped Satan and his evil in the darkness realms, while the body of Christ, Revelation 12:5, that is, the church remained safe in the light realms of the same 6-dimensional space, away from Satan and wickedness. That God's separation of light from darkness in Genesis 1 verse 4 was such a spectacle is the reason the morning stars sang together and all the angels shouted for joy. Job 38 verse 7. Hear God's separation of light from darkness in context. Where were you when I laid the earth's foundation? Tell me if you understand. 5. Who marked off its dimensions? Surely you know. Who stretched a measuring line across it? 6. On what were its footings set, or who laid its cornerstone? 7. While the morning stars sang together and all the angels shouted for joy. 8. Who shut up the sea behind doors when it burst forth from the womb? 9. When I made the clouds its garment and wrapped it in thick darkness. 10. When I fixed limits for it and set its doors and bars in place. 11. When I said, this far you may come and no farther. Here is where your proud waves halt. 12. Have you ever given orders to the morning or shown the dawn its place? 13. That it might take the earth by the edges and shake the wicked out of it? 14. The earth takes shape like clay under a seal. Its features stand out like those of a garment. 15. The wicked are denied their light, and their upraised arm is broken. 16. Have you journeyed to the springs of the sea or walked in the recesses of the deep? 17. Have the gates of death been shown to you? Have you seen the gates of the deepest darkness? 18. Have you comprehended the vast expanses of the earth? Tell me if you know all this. 19. What is the way to the abode of light? And where does darkness reside? 20. Can you take them to their places? Do you know the paths to their dwellings? 21. Surely you know, for you were already born. You have lived so many years. Job 38 verses 4 to 21 NIV. So, God did not keep us in the dark about life and death. Only that we choose to do life our own ways and disregard God's warning on death and destruction. About life, John 5 verses 39 to 40 NIV says, you study the scriptures diligently because you think that in them you have eternal life. These are the very scriptures that testify about me, 40 yet you refuse to come to me to have life. About death, 2 Thessalonians 2 verses 10 to 12 NIV says, they perish because they refuse to love the truth and so be saved. 11. For this reason God sends them a powerful delusion so that they will believe the lie. 12. And so that all will be condemned who have not believed the truth but have delighted in wickedness. About life and death, James 4 verses 1 to 10 says, what causes fights and quarrels among you? Don't they come from your desires that battle within you? Do you desire but do not have, so you kill? You covet, but you cannot get what you want, so you quarrel and fight. You do not have because you do not ask God. 3. When you ask, you do not receive, because you ask with wrong motives, that you may spend what you get on your pleasures. For you adulterous people, don't you know that friendship with the world means enmity against God? Therefore, anyone who chooses to be a friend of the world becomes an enemy of God. 5. Or do you think Scripture says without reason that he jealously longs for the Spirit he has caused to dwell in us? 6. But he gives us more grace. That is why Scripture says, God opposes the proud but shows favor to the humble. 7. Submit yourselves, then, to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. 8. Come near to God, and he will come near to you. Wash your hands, you sinners, and purify your hearts, you double-minded. 9. Grieve, mourn, and wail. Change your laughter to mourning and your joy to gloom. 10. Humble yourselves before the Lord, and he will lift you up. Deuteronomy 28 verses 1 to 14 below makes it abundantly clear that God did not create anything in the human life to deplete below zero, but to stop to exist anytime it hits zero, which is death. Therefore, anything that depletes below zero has entered the death dimension naturally, X, or spiritually, Y, or eternally, Z. Deuteronomy 28 verses 1 to 14 NIV, if you fully obey the Lord your God and carefully follow all his commands I give you today, the Lord your God will set you high above all the nations on earth. 2. All these blessings will come on you and accompany you if you obey the Lord your God. 3. You will be blessed in the city and blessed in the country. For the fruit of your womb will be blessed, and the crops of your land and the young of your livestock, the calves of your herds and the lambs of your flocks. 5. Your basket and your kneading trough will be blessed. 6. You will be blessed when you come in and blessed when you go out. 7. The Lord will grant that the enemies who rise up against you will be defeated before you. They will come at you from one direction, but flee from you in 7. 8. The Lord will send a blessing on your barns and on everything you put your hand to. The Lord your God will bless you in the land he is giving you. 9. The Lord will establish you as his holy people, as he promised you on oath, if you keep the commands of the Lord your God and walk in obedience to him. 10. Then all the peoples on earth will see that you are called by the name of the Lord, and they will fear you. 11. The Lord will grant you abundant prosperity in the fruit of your womb, the young of your livestock, and the crops of your ground, in the land he swore to your ancestors to give you. 12 The Lord will open the heavens, the storehouse of his bounty, to send rain on your land in season and to bless all the work of your hands. You will lend to many nations, but will borrow from none. 13 The Lord will make you the head, not the tail. If you pay attention to the commands of the Lord your God that I give you this day and carefully follow them, you will always be at the top, never at the bottom. 14 Do not turn aside from any of the commands I give you today, to the right or to the left, following other gods and serving them. Deuteronomy 28 verse 1. 14 Neve. And Deuteronomy 28 verses 15 to 68 below shows that it is death through the disobedience of God that depletes anything in the human life below zero, which is the beginning of death dimensions: natural death, X, spiritual death, Y, and eternal death, Z. Deuteronomy 28 verses 15 to 68 NIV. However, if you do not obey the Lord your God and do not carefully follow all his commands and decrees I am giving you today, all these curses will come on you and overtake you. 16 You will be cursed in the city and cursed in the country. 17 Your basket and your kneading trough will be cursed. 18 The fruit of your womb will be cursed, and the crops of your land, and the calves of your herds, and the lambs of your flocks. 19 You will be cursed when you come in and cursed when you go out. 20 The Lord will send on you curses, confusion, and rebuke in everything you put your hand to, until you are destroyed and come to sudden ruin because of the evil you have done in forsaking him. 21 The Lord will plague you with diseases until he has destroyed you from the land you are entering to possess. 22 The Lord will strike you with wasting disease, with fever and inflammation, with scorching heat and drought, with blight and mildew, which will plague you until you perish. 23 The sky over your head will be bronze, the ground beneath you iron. 24 The Lord will turn the rain of your country into dust and powder. It will come down from the skies until you are destroyed. 25 The Lord will cause you to be defeated before your enemies. You will come at them from one direction, but flee from them in 7, and you will become a thing of horror to all the kingdoms on earth. 26 Your carcasses will be food for all the birds and the wild animals, and there will be no one to frighten them away. 27 The Lord will afflict you with the boils of Egypt and with tumors, festering sores, and the itch, from which you cannot be cured. 28 The Lord will afflict you with madness, blindness, and confusion of mind. 29 At midday you will grope about like a blind person in the dark. You will be unsuccessful in everything you do. Day after day you will be oppressed and robbed, with no one to rescue you. 30 You will be pledged to be married to a woman, but another will take her and rape her. You will build a house, but you will not live in it. You will plant a vineyard, but you will not even begin to enjoy its fruit. 31 Your ox will be slaughtered before your eyes, but you will eat none of it. Your donkey will be forcibly taken from you and will not be returned. Your sheep will be given to your enemies, and no one will rescue them. 32 Your sons and daughters will be given to another nation, and you will wear out your eyes watching for them day after day, powerless to lift a hand. 33 A people that you do not know will eat what your land and labor produce, and you will have nothing but cruel oppression all your days. 34 The sights you see will drive you mad. 35 The Lord will afflict your knees and legs with painful boils that cannot be cured, spreading from the soles of your feet to the top of your head. 36 The Lord will drive you and the king you set over you to a nation unknown to you or your ancestors. There you will worship other gods, gods of wood and stone. 37 You will become a thing of horror, a byword and an object of ridicule among all the peoples where the Lord will drive you. 38 You will sow much seed in the field, but you will harvest little, because locusts will devour it. 39 You will plant vineyards and cultivate them, but you will not drink the wine or gather the grapes, because worms will eat them. 40 You will have olive trees throughout your country, but you will not use the oil, because the olives will drop off. 41 You will have sons and daughters, but you will not keep them, because they will go into captivity. 42 Swarms of locusts will take over all your trees and the crops of your land. 43 The foreigners who reside among you will rise above you higher and higher, but you will sink lower and lower. 44 They will lend to you, but you will not lend to them. They will be the head, but you will be the tail. 45 All these curses will come on you. They will pursue you and overtake you until you are destroyed, because you did not obey the Lord your God and observe the commands and decrees he gave you. 46. They will be a sign and a wonder to you and your descendants forever. 47. Because you did not serve the Lord your God joyfully and gladly in the time of prosperity. 48. Therefore, in hunger and thirst, in nakedness and dire poverty, you will serve the enemies the Lord sends against you. He will put an iron yoke on your neck until he has destroyed you. 49. The Lord will bring a nation against you from far away, from the ends of the earth, like an eagle swooping down, a nation whose language you will not understand. 50. A fierce-looking nation without respect for the old or pity for the young. 51. They will devour the young of your livestock and the crops of your land until you are destroyed. They will leave you no grain, new wine, or olive oil, nor any calves of your herds or lambs of your flocks until you are ruined. 52. They will lay siege to all the cities throughout your land until the high fortified walls in which you trust fall down. They will besiege all the cities throughout the land the Lord your God is giving you. 53. Because of the suffering your enemy will inflict on you during the siege, you will eat the fruit of the womb, the flesh of the sons and daughters the Lord your God has given you. 54. Even the most gentle and sensitive man among you will have no compassion on his own brother, or the wife he loves, or his surviving children. 55. And he will not give to one of them any of the flesh of his children that he is eating. It will be all he has left, because of the suffering your enemy will inflict on you during the siege of all your cities. 56. The most gentle and sensitive woman among you, so sensitive and gentle that she would not venture to touch the ground with the sole of her foot, will begrudge the husband she loves and her own son or daughter. 57. The afterbirth from her womb and the children she bears. For in her dire need she intends to eat them secretly because of the suffering your enemy will inflict on you during the siege of your cities. 58. If you do not carefully follow all the words of this law, which are written in this book, and do not revere this glorious and awesome name, the Lord your God. 59. The Lord will send fearful plagues on you and your descendants, harsh and prolonged disasters, and severe and lingering illnesses. 60. He will bring on you all the diseases of Egypt that you dreaded, and they will cling to you. 61. The Lord will also bring on you every kind of sickness and disaster not recorded in this book of the law, until you are destroyed. 62. You who were as numerous as the stars in the sky will be left, but few in number, because you did not obey the Lord your God. 63. Just as it pleased the Lord to make you prosper and increase in number, so it will please him to ruin and destroy you. You will be uprooted from the land you are entering to possess. 64. Then the Lord will scatter you among all nations, from one end of the earth to the other. There you will worship other gods, gods of wood and stone, which neither you nor your ancestors have known. 65. Among those nations you will find no repose, no resting place for the sole of your foot. There the Lord will give you an anxious mind, eyes weary with longing, and a despairing heart. 66. You will live in constant suspense, filled with dread both night and day, never sure of your life. 67. In the morning you will say, if only it were evening, and in the evening, if only it were morning, because of the terror that will fill your hearts and the sights that your eyes will see. 68. The Lord will send you back in ships to Egypt on a journey I said you should never make again. There you will offer yourselves for sale to your enemies as male and female slaves, but no one will buy you. It is not that we have not heard these many times before. It is that we now have too much fancy education to believe God's simple truth, hence the following passage. 1 Corinthians 1 verse 18 NIV reminds us, for the message of the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing, but to us who are being saved it is the power of God. The Bible is not just stories and angry outbursts of God and ancient people. The Bible is science before the world knows what science is, and is always more accurate than human science. Only truth saves. Use the Bible to rewrite the world's science, because truth will always prevail over make-beliefs.